Every day starts the same way. You wake up, drink coffee, get ready for a normal day. But everything changes the moment you meet someone who seems like a complete stranger. So my day started with a bad date. We sat in a cafe, trying to keep the conversation going. But the longer I looked at his face, the more I felt how boring our meeting was. We didn't find common topics, we were silent, and a strange tension was building between us. I realized that I would never see this man again. At some point, I realized that all I had to do was just get up and leave. I stood up, thanked him for his time, and walked towards the exit. But that moment somehow kept me going. I'm not used to leaving people so quickly, and that's when I bumped into him. As I left the cafe, I walked down the street, feeling a sense of loneliness wash over me. Walking alone often helps me clear my head, but that day I felt like something was different. I didn't even notice him walking up to me. He was unfamiliar, yet he seemed somehow familiar. A strange feeling that immediately disappeared as soon as I heard his voice.
You look like you're lost. Can I help you?
I was a little embarrassed, but something in his gaze made me feel calm. We started talking, and to my surprise, I didn't feel any tension. We just talked without stopping, as if we had known each other for a long time. We didn't ask names, didn't inquire about the past. He suggested we spend the day together just for fun. We went to the park, walked along the embankment, laughed and joked. It was like in the films, when two strangers become friends in one day. Time flew by, and we didn't even think about parting. When evening came, we stood on the bridge, looked at the lights of the city below, and just stayed silent. The moment was so special that it seemed impossible for me to forget. We exchanged glances, and despite the lack of words, I could feel something more emerging between us. But before we left, we agreed not to ask names, not to find out who we were to each other. We were just people living in the moment.
Well, I'll see you later.
He said, smiling. I nodded, and we went our separate ways, unaware that our lives were about to be turned upside down. The next morning, I woke up feeling a little dizzy. Everything felt like a blur. I went to work, but the strange feeling didn't leave me. When I entered the office, I noticed him right away. He was standing at the window, talking to his colleagues. My heart immediately started to beat faster. He was my new boss. I couldn't believe my eyes. How could it be possible? We didn't know each other, and yesterday's meeting seemed so random. We had agreed that we wouldn't ask him many questions, but now everything had changed. He was part of my life, but I didn't even know his name. How did he end up being my boss? Why does this seem so strange to me? When I walked to my workstation, he noticed me and came over. His face was calm, but I saw something new in his gaze. He knew what I recognized. It was impossible to hide. And even though we hadn't exchanged names, there was something in his demeanor that let me know immediately that he remembered our meeting.
Hi.
He said, and his voice was a little cold, but with a certain mysterious note. At that moment, I realized that our chance meeting was no accident. He knew more than he seemed to, and now we had to figure out what was next. So that's how it all got wrapped up. If you like this story, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Write in the comments how you would act in the place of the main character. Don't miss out, because if we get 5,000 likes, the next story will be even more intriguing and unexpected.